We're just 169 days away from November's midterm elections, but some of the biggest political battles in America aren't happening in Washington. They're happening locally, city by city, block by block, and some of the names making headlines may surprise you. And let me tell you, I've said this before, I'll say it again. The figures in local politics can very well dictate the overall party positions, the stance, where they go, and the candidates. For example, in New York City, my city, Mayor Zohran Mamdani is claiming he's helped close a massive $12 billion budget deficit with a mix of spending cuts and new revenue and help from the state. Now, supporters say that it's a blueprint for how progressive governments can deliver results, and critics argue it may be more of creative accounting, moving money around, kicking the cost to the next generation. We're going to talk about that because New York was also dealing with a major rail strike threatening to paralyze parts of the region. I will tell you, negotiators reached a deal just hours ago to end the strike. Really good news. Trains are going to resume tomorrow at noon. Meanwhile, we go to the other side of the country, Los Angeles. Former reality TV star Spencer Pratt has become a surprisingly serious mayoral candidate, channeling voter frustration over homelessness, crime, the cost of living, disaster response into a campaign that few people saw coming. Is this the future of politics? Non-traditional populist candidates? Outsiders? Joining me now, someone who knows exactly what it is like leading a city through budget battles, labor disputes, public safety debates. We're talking about mayors. Who better to talk about this than former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio? Thank you for taking the time, sir. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.
So, Mayor Mamdani, did he eliminate the deficit?
He did what he had to do for now. Look,
now, that's the key, right?
No, but that's true every year. And I think there's a bit of an illusion here of how budgets work. You want the real life.
I want it. Tell me.
Everything is fluid because year after year things can change. And the economy can change, global events can change the situation. There are so many factors that you just need to get through the year. And of course, try and make good decisions for the future. But he came in with a tough situation that Eric Adams left him. He had to win real big concessions from the state of New York, which, by the way, I think New York City deserves. New York City is the economic engine of the state. I think for years we haven't gotten our fair share. So he managed to have an incredibly amicable, productive relationship with Governor Hochul. That's an achievement.
This is what I would say. I push back on. You said it. New York economic center. 2 points I would say is, one, if we're spending more than we're bringing in through revenue, shouldn't be the focus on how do we generate more revenue for the city. And two, the counter argument would be, well, wait a minute. We're still paying through all this through state taxes. I mean, the state's providing aid, but we're still paying it through state taxes. And in terms of the pension payments, deferring them, aren't you just kicking the can down the road? It's going to be the 2030 generation that has to deal with it.
I would say, put in perspective, New York City has handled its pension fund very responsibly for years. So again, you're always going to make those adjustments year by year. But the good news is, for decades, New York City has balanced its budget on time every year and has handled its pension investments well, compared to, unfortunately, some other states and cities around the country. There's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of oversight. I think the big news story here is, now imagine you're in this situation. You inherit a tough budget. You need the state to own up to what it hasn't owned up to before. And you've got to make an alliance with someone who hasn't necessarily been a natural ally. In just less than 6 months, Mamdani pulled that off.
Listen, he's got a tough balancing act. I'm not going to lie to you. He's got a tough balancing act. Do you think the unions will agree to the deferred pension payments, though?
Generally speaking, I think the unions understand that they're all in this with the rest of the city. They've got to make this city budget work. You're going to have good years. You're going to have tough years. So I am hopeful there's going to be cooperation all around.
What do you think about the strike ending so quickly? I mean, first of all, it's great news, but we were all planning that this was going to go on for days.
I thought once it got to a strike, which we hadn't seen in decades, we were in for a long, difficult haul. I'm kind of amazed. I'm kind of amazed it's this quick. And thank God, because let me tell you something. That's, the biggest commuter railroad in the country. Yeah. That would have started to paralyze the economy of this region if it had gone on for weeks.
I mean, we don't know. I don't think we know the details of what the settlement was or what they agreed to. But the idea was they wanted not only a retroactive payment, I think it was 9.5%, but they also wanted 5% for this year. Do you think? What do you think was?
I don't know the specifics, but I will say to you, for it to happen that quickly, I mean, what's interesting to me is if they could come to a deal that quickly, it suggested the whole strike could have been averted.
Yeah.
So again, why did we even get to that point? But I am telling you, I never would have predicted this quick, and this is really a blessing for New York.
Talking about predictions, Spencer Pratt going to be the mayor of LA?
He is not going to be the mayor.
You really
of LA.
don't? Let me tell you something. Most brilliant marketing campaign I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You don't think he's got a shot?
I think he will get to the runoff. I think, let's give him credit.
So tell me how you think it'll work.
I'm going to give him credit. And I agree with the statement, a candidate who can portray real, authenticity, honesty, openness. That's what people are looking for. I give him credit. He's saying some things that people feel and they want to hear. That's going to be enough to get him to the runoff. Mayor Bass, Karen Bass, has a lot of support. Even though she's had some tough moments, she still has a lot of support. By the way, the story that's being lost here, she has done more to address homelessness in the city and reduce homelessness on the streets of LA than any of the
people feel that, though?
I'm saying a fact. Previous mayors really didn't make much progress. In fact, it got worse over years. You could see it when you visited LA. She actually has come up with policies that have started to change that. People will, I think, hear about it in the course of the campaign. But here's what's going to happen. Spencer Pratt, I think, will get to the runoff. And then remember, we're not talking about LA County. We're talking about the city of LA, progressive Democratic city. When they hear all the things this guy has said in his life, possibly endorsement by Donald Trump, it's going to be a very clear juxtaposition. Karen Bass wins. Do
you think that there is room for a middle ground right now? Why do I say that? I mean, the midterms are coming up. The Republicans who have, gotten on President Trump's bad side, they're being challenged, they're being primaried. Progressive Democrats are winning these primaries. Do you think there's room in this country for a middle ground?
Sure.
How does it happen?
Well, I think it comes down to you can be a populist and still have some moderate views. But what is not going to be acceptable, and I think we saw this in the 2024 election, the candidate who seems like they accept the status quo in America today, that candidate's in trouble. Unfortunately for Democrats, that seemed more like Kamala Harris was accepting the status quo than Donald Trump in 2024. That's something we have to correct. I believe we will correct. But it doesn't always align to extremes of ideology. I think in many ways it's who is relating to what people are struggling with economically, their family reality, and who sounds, honestly, pissed off enough to do something about it.
Well, that's the Spencer Pratt argument, right?
Right, but it is not always about left or right extremes. Okay. It's also about personal story. It's also about the emotion. It's about being out there with people. Mamdani, we forget, Mamdani, it was not just about his policy positions. He was out in the neighborhoods. In fact, he won a lot of votes from people who had voted for Trump the year before because they said, this guy's connected to us, and he's clearly against the status quo. So I think it transcends ideology more than we realize.
Well, going back to Katie's point with going with Mamdani, he's in a difficult position where, in one way, he's doing this, or he wants to propose this pied-à-terre tax. I mispronounce it, but you know what it is, the tax on the wealthy homes. I think the counter-argument to that would be, is you're going after these condo developments. It brings jobs, right? Legal, marketing, brokerage. You're going to be driving wealth out. And yet, at the same time, he's meeting with business leaders. What's going on there?
First of all, on the pied-à-terre tax,
you're so much better at saying
I had it ready for you. I've heard it.
Thank you.
Many, many times. I had an advantage. Look, that's on people who buy homes over $5 million. And we're talking about this, their second home. So with all due respect to them, they can afford a small additional tax. And in the end, there's a ton of support for it. And there's also a huge market for those homes. This is the thing. Look,
they're not going to leave?
Not only are they not going to leave, there's plenty of other people who want to buy those places. The market in New York City is incredibly strong right now. Now, that does not mean Mamdani shouldn't meet with business leaders, hear their concerns, find common ground where they can. But you know what? Republicans and independents believe in America. It's been consistent in the polling that the wealthy are not paying their fair share of taxes. So when you say someone who can afford as a second home, a home of $5 million or more, I'm not shedding a tear for that person. They can afford a little more. And they got a huge tax break before from Trump and the Congress.
Who's the leader of the Dems right now? I mean, if you can point to Trump as the leader of the GOP, who are you looking out for right now? Is it Kamala Harris? Is it Gavin Newsom? Is it Mamdani? Is it AOC? Is it Jeffries? Who are you looking out for right now? Is it still too early?
Look, today I think the candidate who has played his cards the best for 2028 is Gavin Newsom, especially because of what he did on the redistricting and the response to Trump sending the National Guard and the enforcement, the ICE enforcement in LA. If you're asking who's sort of the conscience or the message creator of the Democratic Party, it's probably more Bernie Sanders than anyone else right now.
Interesting.
And he is the most popular politician in America. He's not a candidate for president, but as the voice of the party, I'd say it's probably more Bernie.
What are Newsom's biggest roadblocks?
Coming from California, coming from San Francisco, and for a lot of the country, It's hard, and I know this as mayor of New York City. You may remember my incredibly effective campaign for president. I think
You brought it up.
I can own it. I'm going to own it. I think it is a little harder for a lot of people in the country to relate to the big coastal cities. He can transcend that, and he has been doing a lot of work going out around the country.
Yeah.
And I give him credit. He's talked to a lot of folks who don't agree with him, and he showed an openness. But I think why he's making progress in the party is because he really fought back on the redistricting.
Well, listen, Mayor de Blasio, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming. I know it's very awkward for you to be with somebody who's taller than you, but it's good for you to experience that once.
I'm going through a lot of emotion right now.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.